Welcome to another episode of Adventures of Adversity.
And today we're going to be talking about children in your world. Now, the main thing to remember about whether you're writing or role playing children is that they are not tiny adults. They are, in fact, children. They do not act the same way or think the same way that adults do. I've seen so many, especially animated movies, or read so many books where the children, especially usually it's with teenagers, but where the children in general just don't act like their age. They're just little adults. It's adult plots in little bodies. And it can work depending on the situation. That said, it does tend to be a bit immersion breaking when they don't act appropriately. Some things that you want to remember is that children are developing. They're, little children, especially, are physically developing a lot with just their speech abilities. Like with my two adorable children, they can't quite say some of the syllables. R's and L's particularly tend to be difficult for them. They're 6 and 3 years old, and also some slight mental development. Well, a lot of mental development is still working. Uh, my youngest, she understands a lot, and I sometimes forget how much she still needs to learn. And when I asked her to say Adventures University, she said it correctly a few times, but then I focused more on my elder son, with his line because he had more to say, and I forgot to coach her more. And when it came her time, instead of saying Adventures University, I just thought it was so cute when she said Adventures Adversity. Sure, works. um, so they are still learning little nuances, little things. They're not quite to the processing level as an adult would be. Um, and emotionally as well. You may have noticed my son was pouting a little bit at the end there. He was getting confused about the back and forth, but they weren't being able to both say the lines at the same time. So when I told him to stop talking and for her to start talking, he was, but I wanted to keep talking. So he just wanted to be involved. He was emotionally invested in the project. He wanted to do well to make me happy because children trying to appease their parents. He was trying to just do well in general because he wanted to succeed in what he was doing. And he wanted to be a good example for his little sister. He's a amazing big brother in that way. He likes helping his little sister. And just in general, just thought it was a fun idea to be on a video. Now, I'm no expert on the different developmental stereotypes of each age group, but generally speaking, I am familiar with the young age group, as my children are, of being the overly blunt, still learning, trying to grasp the world around them. Uh, Someone swears at someone else. What does mean? The whole thing. Or the teenage group, because I know a lot of teenagers, and I remember that most of my childhood, of people being unsure of their social situation, more emotional development in that regard, experimenting with relationships, uh, those uh, trying to figure out what the changes in the body mean when in the younger teenage years, and in the older teenage years trying to experiment with the different emotions and trying to express them to each other, and trying to succeed in life because there's all kinds of expectations placed on teenagers, and they're getting close to becoming adults, etc., etc., etc. So That's one reason why I think the young adult genre is so interesting, even to adults, when it's done right, because there's all of those different drama-related tensions that can come out. Uh, Whereas young children is a lot harder to have a focus on them because they don't really have a lot of drama per se. Like my children, the biggest drama they have is Dad won't let me watch TV. Something to keep in mind is that when you're role playing, especially, you do not need to be perfect. If you're role playing a child, have a couple ideas on how you want them to act and just go with it. If you throw in a little bit too old content, oh well. It may be a little immersion breaking, but as long as you're all having fun, who cares? um, it's fun to like break up a few words, not quite grasp ideas as well, not understand why those weird, annoying adults keep doing all this stuff, that kind of thing. Now, in writing, what I would recommend doing is read through the dialogue, specifically paying attention to the if it's age appropriate in your opinion. Just reading through it, does it sound like a teenager? Does it sound like a 3 year old? If it doesn't, then try writing it again. One thing that would help with both the role playing and the writing of children is to interact with children of the appropriate age. Go find someone that you know, maybe a cousin or a friend, uh, who's of that appropriate age, and have a play date with them. Interact with them, role play something with them, do a game of pretend where you are acting out a scene in that is either similar to or is of what you want to role play with them as, and see how they interact. Um, do remember that a lot of the times, especially with younger children, well, particularly with younger children, they can be it can be like herding cats sometimes. That 9.5 second clip of my kids took me roughly 15 minutes to record. it was it was painful. Uh, Once you get a few lines of dialogue and you start listening to how they're talking, you can get a lot of ideas and inspiration on how they would react, and perhaps even get some direct quotes from them in like you are acting out the villain and they are being the good guy, or vice versa, whatever role the child is in. And um, I kind of want to have a 5 year old supervillain. That would be they'd be a billionaire heir to an industry and thus have the power. They have people who support them as the child heir to this empire, or maybe it's a pharaoh or something like that. There have been child pharaohs and child kings. Uh, so yeah, I could see that totally working. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent here. Uh, get some quotes from them on things that sound either funny, just super accurate, just things that is very much what that age group would say type thing. And that can just snowball, inspire you on other ways to uh, act out that character. Or maybe it'll inspire you to not use a child of that age group because you don't want to have so much dialogue from that age group because it's difficult. I don't know. Some people it's easier than others. For me, I struggle a lot. I tend to focus on older age groups because of that. My children all tend to be just younger, littler versions of me. But so maybe this is me projecting a little bit, but I have seen a lot of mistakes with this, and these are the things that I have used to help me. So I hope it's been helpful for you, that you can remember to not make mini yous uh, as your children in role playing games and stories if that's not what you're going for. So if you liked what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And I do want to give a special shout out to my Patreon supporters for supporting me. If you want to join the Patreon crew, go to patreon.com/adventurersuniversity and select one of the tiers. And yeah, until next time, Have fun.